If you have been creating content and you feel scattered brain, you're all over the place. If you have been where I have been, where you have content ideas scattered everywhere from your notes app to scraps of paper to random notebooks with no structure, this video is for you. I am introducing you to Canva Sheets, right? But before I jump into Canva Sheets and this awesome feature that no exists, I want to just be honest with you, right? I am not a spreadsheets girl at all. But what I do like when it comes to my content is having some level of structure. It sounds so weird for me to like, have the content ideas scattered over the place. But when it comes to the actual content calendar, having a plan, I need some structure. I'm telling you, I need some structure. And so I had found some relief with Notion, being able to just map out my content for a particular period, for a campaign, for a theme, whatever it is, and it worked. Until Canva dropped Sheets in April, and I'm like, okay, even though I'm not a spreadsheets girl, I was like, what if I could really streamline my content planning in one space, one platform? I mean, I already utilize Canva, love it, use it religiously every day. I was like, what if I could just use this one space of streamlining content planning from the ideas aspect to design to even creation and publishing? I'm like, listen, I want to do this without the overwhelm, without juggling all the platforms. And so after testing it out since April, I'm just going to be saying it to you straight. Like you need to test it out for yourself. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can merge design with data. I'm talking about something that feels so genius. And I'm going to walk you through how you can use it to plan your content, organize your ideas, link your scripts. So if you are using scripts for your video creation, then that's perfect. And also being able to track the status and even use tools like Magic Write all in one sheet. Now, listen, Canva rolled out Suite 2.0, and that is where all the things is. So whether you love spreadsheets or you don't, you just might change how you plan your content. And I'm all about having, like I said, what? Some structure. All right. So before I dive into all the sheets and everything, I want to talk about the importance of having a system. Now, as someone who some people would say type A, very structured, I can also be someone who is not very structured, right? And if you're an entrepreneur who, you're sharing your knowledge, you're sharing your skills, you're creating content because that is a part of your business model. And if you are always having tons of ideas, like myself, then one of the first things you do need is a content bank. And what is a content bank? It simply means a platform or just an area where you have your content ready to go. Your content ready to go. Persons can, well, not persons, but you can just go through all the content ideas and literally work from there to help you to plan out your calendar, right? And then the other thing is you want to have a system just to help you to be more structured. Before, I used to use pretty much anything, notes app, random notebook, ideas all over the place, just as I said before, until like I was introduced to Notion and got a better structure. And I'm going to be honest, you can have all the tools, but if you don't have like a system in place for yourself in terms of how you want to work, it's not going to make any sense. So I was using Notion. I still use Notion. I love Notion. It's also one of my favorite apps. But like I said, I tested out Sheets on myself and I do like what it has been giving so far. And my thoughts on spreadsheets typically, like I said, it's not my favorite, but I do like some structure and some organization when it comes to my ideas, especially planning using tables like content idea, date to be published, date for content to be created. And I talk a lot about batch creating content, and this is the one thing that helps. So you need a system. So although you might have all these ideas, amazing, but how are you going to take those ideas and then create your content? You need a system. You need to have days when you're creating the content, the day you want it to be published, going through your research. What are the things in mind? What is going to help you to determine if that idea you have is really a good content or a video to create, right? So, yeah, yeah. All right. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm just going to dive into Canva. I'm going to give you my initial thoughts, right? I want to give you my initial thoughts. And then I'm going to tell you my thoughts after I dive in. So the first thing is, like I said, I'm not a spreadsheets kind of girl. I typically over the past few months, I've been using Canva Docs a lot more to help me with scripts, to just map out my content, that kind of thing. But with Sheets, it's very dynamic. So, my initial thoughts when when I first heard about it, I was like, yeah, it's okay, fine. But I was like, all right, let's get with it. Let's get with the program. And since I've been on the program of just utilizing Canva Sheets, I can admit I have been sold. So let me just jump in to Canva and give you what you came here for. All right. So the first thing you want to do is to be on the home page of Canva. You want to be on the home page of Canva, and you should have the new refreshed design layout of Canva, which was released in April at Canva Create. So I was one of the first few who got access to this platform and has just been able to navigate it and explore it, right? So if your own page should look like this. So here you're seeing at my recent design, and you in the section you're seeing my designs, templates, AI, all the things. But what we're focusing on for this session is really sheets. So you're going to select sheets and you can create new. No, this is a blank sheet. Think about it, similar to Excel. If you are Excel girly, if you have been using Excel, then it operates similar, right? It's just that it's Canva with data being merged with design. No, we have a blank canvas here. But I also want to point out to you that if you don't want to create from scratch, then you can go to the tab on the left and this says design, and you can scroll through different templates. So you can scroll through and see all the templates here that is available to you. I'm going to select one that you will see what it looks like. And once I select that template, I am replacing the current page. Once I select the current page, you see what it looks like any typical Excel sheet, right? But then there are so many things that makes it different. Being able to do a drop down option, being able to add your colors and your graphics, being able to add your visuals, right? Being able to add your visuals, being able to link, being able to do all the things, but and being able to introduce AI. And we're going to walk through that because I have created my content calendar, and I'm going to introduce it to that template that I created that I've been using since April. But this is just showing you that, hey, if you don't want to create from scratch, you literally can um, what would I say, use an existing template. So you don't have to like what we call it, work hard, but instead working smart. All right. So I have all the things, you know what it looks like. And I'm gonna just go and delete this particular page. So now we have a blank canvas, right? We now have a blank sheet canvas. Let me delete the others here. All right, perfect. So we have a blank canvas, and one of the first things is you can add your title for everything. But instead of using the blank canvas, well, let me stick with the blank canvas for now, and then I'm going to show you my template that I created. So the first thing is, I don't know if you have a structure for content planning. I don't know what that looks like for you, but one of the first things you always want to have when you're creating your calendar is the date. Obviously, the date, probably the date you're publishing that content when you want that content to go out. Then you can say content idea, then second, you can say platform. So you can choose any platform of your choice. And then fourthly, you can say link to video, then you can add anything else, right? So for the section that says date, you simply can go to the tab, your toolbar here that says actions, and you have the option to do a different sheet actions, generate a table, fill empty cells, magic charts, magic insights, magic write, bulk create, resize the designs, translate, add your brand voice, import data, and also being able to insert. So if you are working with a team, what is amazing is that you can add the persons who you might be working with, collaborating with. You can add your date, you can do drop down, you can add a link and also link to Canva design and add a formula. That's quite a lot of things that you can do here, right? But in this section, we're going to choose date. So once I select date, I can go ahead and say, hey, I want my content to be published on June 11, 2025. Then I can have my content idea. And I'm going to say how to use Canva Sheets. All right. So this is my content idea, very broad. Right? When I show you my template, you're going to see how you can get really detailed with your content plan. And then we have that. And then we can say, okay, what's the platform? Now, if you're creating for multiple platforms, like for me, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, you can go ahead and create a drop down. So you're going to go back to your toolbar, select actions, and then you're going to scroll down until you see the tab that says drop down. No, this is already preset, so you can choose yes, no, but for this purpose, it is not relevant. So we're going to create our drop down and I'm going to go ahead and insert my options. So I have YouTube, then I have Instagram, and then I have LinkedIn. So these are my options, right? And I'm going to go ahead and select YouTube. And then I can say I'm going to link it to a video. No, if I've not created a video, of course I wouldn't have a link. But when I jump into my template section that I created, you'll see how you can link your video. No, with this is very boring. There's nothing exciting yet, except for the fact that you can do the drop down and all these things in Sheets. But as I said, similar to other platforms, where the wow comes in is one, you can use your own brand colors, brand kit, and then you can change the background, right? So we're changing the background of our main row. I can change the color here. I can then go ahead for my data, have that already. But for the platforms that I had selected for the drop down, you can change the color options. Again, this links back to your brand kit. So that's why it is important for you to have your brand kit set up and in place. So what you're seeing here that is being changed is the color of your text and not necessarily the background. So I just want to point that out to you. All right, so I have my drop down here. This is all the things. Then another thing that makes this interesting is, like I said earlier, the action section. But hear me out. If, for instance, you want to add a column, you simply right click and you see some options here. So you select the column, right click, then you'll see the options for you to copy style, paste special, whether that's values format, clear selection, delete the column, add a column. You can merge your cells. You can size column to content, right? I can also go more, move the column left, move the column right. I can sort, I can freeze. I can do all the things here. These are some really good options. And like I said, in the action section, I can fill empty cells. So let's try out adding two additional columns. And the column I'm going to add here is target audience and lead magnet. All right. So what I'm going to do is select the cell, right? And then I'm going to choose the copy style option on the toolbar. So I'm going to copy and just simply repeat the step here. And as you realize that is changed. So no, maybe I don't have, I'm not clear on my target audit, which you really should be, but just saying you're drawing blanks. You're drawing blanks on the type of content you can use to fill in this particular row or this cell. What you're going to do is to select actions and then you can go to magic right and say, help me to determine the target audience for a video on Canva Sheets. And we just select a prompt and it is being generated and it simply says what it is, right? I can say more like this or I can say this but. And in this case, we're just going to work with it and insert. Already we see the content is inserted here. I can go ahead and on the toolbar select overflow, and then it just makes everything laid out properly. I also have the option, as you realized earlier, I did say that what you can do is to size your column to content. So you can select that option as well. So if you want your content to spread across in the entire column, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just right click and change it, or you can just simply pull it in. All right. So those are some simple basic things that you can go through in terms of creating your sheets. Then there's another action that you can take. Ideally for this section that I say, or this column that says lead magnets, ideally you want to link it to the lead magnet or share what that lead magnet is. However, what you can do as well is use the section that says actions, which again you can find on your toolbar, and say fill empty cells. All right, and it is filling the empty cell. And as you realize here, it says free Canva Sheets template download. So already this is AI in action. It knows the date, it knows the content idea of the platform, and it has literally just filled this empty sheet with with a lead magnet idea. That is what it is. And so I can go ahead now and link this same sheet to the lead magnet, right? So I could go here and say, you know what, I want to make this maybe a brand template. And, if I publish it, I can copy this link here. And then I am going to just double click the text here, select link, and just link there. That's how easy it is that you can do to just create the content in terms of your lead magnets. All right, so these are some basic ways how you can utilize Canva Sheets to create your or plan out your content. Now let me just dive into my Canva sheet that I've used for my project over the last 2 months or a month and a half. Let's call it like that. So what you're seeing here is my content plan. This is content that I have mapped out and that I've already had published on my YouTube channel. I can be very detailed and it really helps me a lot, especially when I have all the ideas and I want to share more clearly with my audience. So what you are seeing on this content plan is one, ideal date to publish the content. Two, my content calendar day. Not my content calendar day. What am I saying? My content creation day. That's very important. Then, let me do something here. Right. Then I have the pain point. So I have the idea for my content. I think I probably needed to switch around some of the columns, but you'll get the flow. Then I have a column which is for pain point. As you know, I talk a lot about branding and being on brand and creating content that matches the audience. So of course, this is an important element. So I have my pain point column, I have my desire column, and this is related to my audience. Then I have the series, the content I am creating. Is it going to be a part of a series? So I have the series linked here. Which content platform? Again, you have the option to do drop down, content type, long form, short form, reels, that kind of thing. Topic and theme, I have that, right? What is the topic? What am I going to be talking about? Again, I could reposition this particular column and then bringing awareness to the issue. What am I going to do to bring that across? Again, guys, this is just my method. You don't have to use the same thing, but I'm just showing you how I map out my content. Then why this works, why does this video work, why whatever I'm sharing is working, the structure for the content, the title for the content, the lead magnet, the service I might be promoting, if I'm going to repurpose it and if I'm going to repurpose it on which platform, the tags, the keywords I'm going to use, the script, the status, and the thumbnail, and again, link to the video. This, guys, is everything that I have in my content plan. All right. So let me just break it down for you. So, like I said, I'm not just talking about using Canva Sheets, but how to use it effectively, how to use it in a way that works for you. No, like I said, content creation is part of your model. Then, of course, you want to be as detailed as possible and create it in a way that works for you. Okay. So like I said, I have my ideal date. So how I use Canva Sheets was I went to the action section and then I looked for insert. I added my date. So I have April 21. So I'm going to go here and I have my date. I walked through that with you earlier. Content creation day, it's the same action you'll take. You go to insert, you find the date and you input it here. Pain point, these are things you should know, right? You're creating your content, you have your idea. These are things you should know. But one of the things that you can do is to use other features in Canva, other tools in Canva to make your life much easier. So if you realize I selected a series here, here it is linked to my Canva docs and I'm going to select it. And what you're seeing here, so remember, talk about the visual suite where you can use one design with multiple formats in one. This is pretty much it. And I'm walking you through that as well. So I have my Canva docs here, which was created, and I'm going to show you how you can do that shortly. So I have it here. I've broken down my entire series. What are the topics? Which one I should do first, which one should do second. And as you realize, some of them I've done a strike through because I literally, created and published them, right? Or maybe went through the entire process, right? This needs some updating, but this is just the general gist of it, right? So as you realize, from my sheets, I was able to link to my doc. I'm going to go back to my Canva doc and note out an important thing. If I should select the three dots on the doc, you're going to see this title. Always give your every design, everything you create in Canva, give it a title because it's going to make it easier for you to create content in the long run. Then you have the option to delete the page, duplicate the page, copy the link to this page, or even convert it to a presentation or add notes. These are some things you can do. All right, I'm jumping back over to my sheets. Now, the other tab I have is content platform. Now, like I said earlier, I create for different platforms. This needs to be a little bit updated. So I'm going to delete reel, delete carousel, email, any, right. So I have my options here. I have YouTube, LinkedIn, email. I can go and change the color if I want. I can say change for all or just this one. So I'm going to go ahead and say change for all. This just make sure you do everything at once so you're not all over the place. So I'm going to choose this option to change the color. So let me go back here. I'm going to select edit, change the color. Oh, I keep on wondering what's happening. And then I select the color I want and it is changed, right? And I'm saying change for all, sorry, change for all. And if I should go back here, I'll see that the color was changed. Again, it's the text color that is changed, right? A little bit of the, it's not the background, it's just the text color. All right, so we have that there. You can add the different options, and how you do that, you select the cell, then you go to actions, then you go to drop down because that is where you're going to go to add the different options. And this is good. Instead of every time you're creating like the one text. Makes no sense. Remember, we're working smarter, not harder. And then in our other column, which is content type, you use the same approach, you just using drop down. So for me here, I have long form content, 10 to 15 minutes, carousel, reel, live, long form to 5 to 10 minutes, um, long form 15 minutes plus. It gives me structure so I can know how long I want these videos to be created, right? Then in my other column, I have my topic again. So what if, maybe, you created this and you want to move it? I could highlight this column and I could go to the section that says, hold on, I should be able to move it. So I'm going to drag it, right? And I will drag it here. So let me zoom out a little. So I'm going to drag it. Hold on 1 second. I should be able to drag it. I'm not sure what I am missing. But okay. All right, I'm going to test back this, but you should be able to drag it. I am not seeing the option. All right, let me just check this out, and quite possibly I will come back and tell you how to do that. But you should be able to drag, unless I'm not doing something correct at this point. All right, but you should be able to drag it. All right, let me just zoom in again. All right, perfect. Know you also have, bring awareness to the issue, why this works, that kind of thing. But really and truly, I want to show you how you can use Magic Write again for coming up with a title. Just saying, you're drawing blanks and you need some ideas. Let's jump into Magic Write. So for the title, I'm going to delete the one I have. I am going to choose my, let's say I'm going to use my content idea, right? Topic, right? Let me use my content topic slash theme. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going over to title. Then I'm going to actions on the toolbar. I'm going to select Magic Write. And then I'm going to say, help me to come up with a creative, catchy title for my YouTube video based on. And this is where it is going to be important for you to learn how to prompt well. Like, if you don't know how to prompt, then, as I say, garbage in, garbage out, that's exactly what is going to happen. And I'm inserting. So they suggest the title of Build a Magnetic Brand, Master Cohesive Pro Level Presence across all social media platform. Again, you don't have to run with this idea for a title. You can create your own. But what I'm showing you is that you can use Magic Write to help you to come up with the title for that content. So if you have the content idea, you map out what the pain points are going to address, the desires of your audience, you have everything, but you're just not coming up with a title, then this will help you significantly, which is using Magic Write. No, the other option I have here is lead magnet. I can select and drop down again. So these are just the same functionalities, and again for repurposing. No, if for instance I didn't have my keywords here, I could just double click and delete it. So we're using it as a blank cell, and I need to have some keywords tags that I want to use on my YouTube channel, as as part of SEO. I can go again to actions, choose Magic Write, and I'm going to say, hey, please help me with tags suitable for this um, video, right? Based on, all right, and it is being generated, and I'm going to insert, right? I think, right, it's inserted. So these are now my keywords that I've created using Magic Write. So these are the little things. You have the idea, but now you need to be able to map out certain other little things that you might be drawing blanks on. You utilize the tool for purposes like that. Now I want to jump in an exciting part, because one of the key things I would suggest when you're creating content, especially you're not naturally, probably good on camera, you need a little guidance, you need a flow instead of always like trying to free flow things. Create a script. Now, creating the script, you might have a blank cell. So I'm going to delete this here. And now I need to have a script. Maybe I've not created one. As you realize, I have some docs here, and I will just show you that I've already created my script. But what if I didn't create a script already? I could go ahead where you see this plus sign that says add a page. I could select add page, which is going to give me the similar design to the last thing that was created. We don't want that. All right. So I'm going to delete that. But I'm going to select the upper arrow that says add page type. That's the one you want to create. Add page type. Unless you want similar type of doc or design to the last one you did, you want to select add a page type. in this option, and this is the exciting thing about the visual suite, is now you can choose literally anything and add it here. You can add another sheet, you can add a Canva doc, you can add your presentation, whiteboard, social media, video, print, anything at all that you want to create that is relevant and related to the main doc that you have. You can create it here. In this section, I'm going to select doc. So I've created doc. This is a blank thing, right? Now I want to create a script. Mind you, you can go again here and use Magic Write and say, hey, please help me to create a script for a YouTube video on, and I include this, right? Of course, you want to ensure that whatever you're inputting makes sense to you. You think about the end in mind, and then I'm going to select generate. It is being generated. And this is my script, all right? Boom, insert. We now have a script. So one, it's telling you how to do your introduction, what's the first thing, what's the second step, what's the third step, what's the fourth step, fifth step, and so on. And I have my script outlined for my content. Amazing. This is like time saving, no overwhelm, anything at all, right? Of course, bearing in mind that you know what you're talking about. I have to put that out there. All right. And then no, I'm going to give my page a title. So I'm going to say script for video, and I can put in the date. So I'm going to say April 21st, 2025. You don't have to make it too long. Just make it something that you can easily link to and find. No, I can either copy this link to the page. I'm going to copy the link for this page, go back to my sheets, and in the section that says script, maybe if I wanted to just type out a text, maybe I said script. I don't have to be honest. I could highlight the text and then, add the link here and done. I could do that. But there's another option. I'm going to delete this, right? There is another option where I can just simply go to actions and select link. And once I select link, okay, good. I think I'm moving a little too fast. Right. So once I select link, you're going to see this gray bar pops up. There's nothing there currently. So once I click it, I can just paste my link here and I can say done. Once I say done, I can change the text in this section and I can say this is the script for video, right? So I'm able to change the text here. So one, you're seeing the text, which is the title or the text you want to have in the box. Then I have the link to the video. Then I have the display mode, which is link or title, right? So we have link, and now I'm going to view it, and this is what it looks like. So there are just so many ways you can do one thing, but what I did earlier, just to just reiterate, was that one, I created a script, using the visual suite, creating a new page type, which is the doc. Then I use Magic AI to help me to generate the script that I want. And then what I did was to right click, sorry, copy the link to the page and then link it. But then there's another way. You could also add the script to this as well, right? And I'm going to show you for something else. All right. So these are just ways you can use Canva Sheets. These are ways you can use Sheets, from ideating to mapping out an entire calendar for your content. Now I have the status, published, to be created, to be edited, that kind of thing. And then I have YouTube thumbnail. As you realize, this is specifically created. This content is for specifically for YouTube. But again, you can do the same thing for your Instagram and so on. As you realize here, it is already linked. So I'm just going to delete it. And I can simply go here and say action, and I want to link to a Canva design. So on my toolbar, I select actions, scroll all the way down to the section that says insert, and look for Canva design. Once I see Canva design, I am going to go ahead now and search based on how what would I say, title my designs. If you don't have a good saving way how you give your designs or anything you create a good system, it's gonna be hard to find this stuff, right? So this is some designs I created just for YouTube thumbnails. If this is the design I wanted to use, I could just simply select it here. And once I select it, the link is there. I can select the link. All right, let me select the link here. And it will open to the actual designs that I have in Canva, right? So as you realize, this is not linked in the Sheets doc or the document that I created. This is an entirely different tab or design that I created with my YouTube thumbnails, right? So you could do it this way, link into Canva designs that you have in a whole different design that you created, or you could go back to your sheets, right? And you could literally create a page. So you could go here and say, listen, I'm going to create a YouTube thumbnail. You're going to select social media. You're going to search for YouTube, right? Because again, the best option to do all of this is to choose exactly the platform you want to create for. It is already optimized. Select YouTube thumbnail. And if you want, you can go here and design from scratch, or you can go to projects similar to like what I did and search again based on how you saved your document and select YouTube thumbnail. And then I can scroll through and find the thumbnail, right? So this is what it would look like if you just select view all. So you see all the different document types. You're seeing the sheets, you're seeing Canva docs, you're seeing social media graphic, you're seeing all the things that is related and relevant to creating your content. Now, this is chef kiss. I love to say chef's kiss, genius. It is merging the data with design. And then lastly, if I want to link everything now to, I have my content mapped out, everything. I have when it was supposed to be published. I have my YouTube thumbnail that I designed. And now I want to link it to the actual video. I'm going to use the same thing by going to the toolbar, select actions, add the link, and once I select it is going to take me to that YouTube video that I created, right? And this is just an easy way for you to track. It is an easy way for you to track what you have from ideation process to actual execution, right? You're not doing anything that require you to just be all over the place. Everything is in one place. All right. If you have any questions, if you are watching this replay and you're like, listen, Carey, I love this. I love everything you're talking about. I'd love to, tell me more. Like, how are some other creative ways I can use sheets? Just drop it in the link below, right? So this is exactly how you can utilize Canva Sheets for creating your content. From the ideas standpoint, you can utilize it from creating the content, and mapping out everything. There are other things that you can do in this that we won't go through today, which one of which is being able to bulk create your content, being able to just fill empty sheets. We went through that. Being able to look at magic charts. I have a video coming out on that. The magic insights. These are all amazing things that you can do in Canva using Canva Sheets. So I've walked you through from, let's just do a quick recap. Let's just do a quick recap from top to bottom of what I walked you through. So what I walked you through was one, being able where to start from with creating a blank sheet, being able to look at where to find templates. If you don't want to create it from scratch, you just want to get something ready made, jump in, by all means use a template. But if you want to create from scratch, you can map out your entire thing. And if you're drawing blanks, like, how do I do this entire thing? Then of course you can use tools like the features like Magic Write to help you to map out your script, and being able to link your script to your sheet, being able to link your actual graphic design to your script so that when you go on your sheet, right, when you go on your calendar and you're like, okay, what was this series about again? Let me see. You simply go to the link, you click it, it pops it up. All right. You want to go back again. You want to see which platform. You want to see the video length, all the things. You want to see maybe what was a lead magnet. You want to see the script, like I mentioned earlier, or you want to see the thumbnail. You can do all the things here. Being able to ideate, to execute, and being able to track at the end of everything. If you wanted to, you could just highlight your entire text and get some insights. All right. Like I said, we're not going through that today, but this is just really good. Like, as I said, I use Notion. I love Notion. It's just one of those platforms that made me feel like I had some structure because I was able to add the tables, but being able to do everything in Canva was just, guys, chef's kiss. Being able to do everything in Canva was chef's kiss. So, if you have any questions about Sheets, about anything else, then of course just comment below and say, hey, I'd love to know how I can use Canva Sheets for X purpose. I want to learn how to use Magic Write for X purpose. I have a lot of videos on my channel about how to use Magic Write, how to use Canva Docs. And if you realize, a lot of this comes back down to just ideas, just having the brilliant ideas and just knowing which tools, which features to utilize and to create with. All right. Before I close out, I definitely just want to share one last thing about Canva Sheets. And you might be wondering, okay, Carey, how can I share? How can I share this doc with my team? You onboard an assistant, you have a small team. How can I share this? You're going to go to share, right, at the top right hand corner. Then you are going to go to public view. This is an amazing way to share docs these days, one of my favorites, because you can always go in, make some changes if you need to, and it is updated in real time. So you copy the link, not copy, select and create public link view. Once I select public link view, I am now able to see what it looks like. So let me just copy that here, open up a new tab. It's coming up. You're gonna see what it looks like. And here, what you are seeing is the actual sheet. You can scroll through, take your time. So if you're a social media manager, if you work with a lot of clients, whatever reason you're using Sheets for, you need to share it, they can just scroll through, they can click the links, it directs them to where they should go, of all the public access, everything, right? And this is the sheet section. But what if they want to scroll through? They can just scroll through and see all the other designs that is in this. So this is the multi-design format for your content or that is created in Canva, right? And they can scroll through, see all the things. They can scroll through, see all the things.